station. I am so happy today. I have little people in the studio with me. My granddaughters are here from Alaska visiting me, and it's just an amazing thing to just release and let go and play with children and just their innocence and the darndest things that they say, take us out of the adult stresses that we have and that we place those burdens and those other things on ourselves when we're living our life trying to be in our grind, right? Thank you for tuning in to the Ask Zena radio show. It is Wednesday the 5th. We are in the second half of this year, 2019. Seriously, where has the time gone? I don't know. I mean, it's just moving so quickly. I'm filled with a lot of joy right now, filled with a lot of joy, just reflecting on my life and my recent illness and coming out of that and the place and space that I occupy. I've been detoxing quite a bit and literally detoxing people in my life and situations and my thought processes and just really removing some of that stuff. As you get older, I think I'm the oldest person at this radio station, but anyway, as you get older, let me just tell you, you start to have a little bit of wisdom about yourself, and whatever that wisdom looks like, I'm not in judgment, but you start to have a little bit of wisdom and you start to recognize things that you really do not want in your life and things that you really want in your life. And then you balance that out with where you're going to put your effort, right? And so I am so grateful that I am a reflective person and I sit back and I look at my life, because there are a lot of people who just mechanically go with their life and they're just in it, right? They're stuck and they're not moving and they don't know how to move and they don't know how to get past things. And we talked a little bit about that on my last show when I was talking about this woman who was going to take a $33,000 pay cut because of her age and because she thought that maybe that was the best that she could do. And it turned out that, she was actually able to maintain and sustain her livelihood at the income level that she was at through some information that I shared with her. So if this is your first time listening to the Ask Zena radio show, let me introduce myself. Hopefully I do have some first timers out there. So I am a coach, a career coach, a life coach, a spiritual coach. I actually don't like to use those titles, but for those people who understand those titles, I will share that. I like to consider myself a soul worker. And why do I consider myself a soul worker? Because through my own personal growth, development, and spiritual growth, I have been able to learn a lot of new things and a lot of old things and remove old things. And so patterns, pathologies, behaviors, and I believe that I'm able to recognize that in other people, and we're able to move past certain blocks and really see their life and their potential and what they can do. I believe that we all have the capacity to tap into unlimited opportunities. Hey, I have a background in human resources. I started as a personnel assistant. I didn't know that I would be sitting here in a radio station doing a podcast. I didn't know that I would potentially be looking at television and other entertainment deals. I didn't know that I would be speaking. So just let life unfold. And if you allow yourself to be open and receptive, life will really start to show you and lean you and guide you and take you on a journey and a path that will be amazing. So I'm here to really help people to live their most abundant life. I don't know what that looks like for you. It looks different for me. I used to live in the desert. Now I live by the ocean and I listen to the waves before I go to bed. And when I wake up in the middle of the night, I can hear the ocean and the waves crashing. And so that's what abundance looks like for me. It's not about It's not about a symbol or it's not about a status. It's about the peace. And so when I listen to the waves, I'm in tremendous peace and I'm in tremendous gratitude. I don't have the fancy mansions that are on the block. I live in a little apartment, but you know what? It brings me peace. It brings me comfort, and I'm very safe and secure in that space. So whatever abundance looks like for you, that's what Coach Zena is all about. Let me help you tap into that. So if you're a first-time listener, go back and listen to some of the other podcasts. You'll know all of the stuff about me, because the one thing that I am is I'm very transparent. So you'll know some of my adversities, you'll know some of my accomplishments, and you'll know that I'm under construction. And it is all good. Whew, that's a mouthful. So I'm just going to take a deep breath, because I am about to bring a special guest and a special friend out today. We're going to talk about some serious stuff, but he is so accomplished. And when he tells you all the things that he's involved in and he is doing, honey, there is no excuses. Remove the excuses off the table. Because if this man can accomplish and do the things that he's doing, I think that he's working on a 27-hour a day. I don't think it's 24. So I'm going to take a deep breath and just get centered and focused. Releasing some good energy, sending you guys some good energy, just knowing that all is well wherever you are at. Thank you, thank you, thank you for listening to the Ask Zena radio show on the Good News radio station. I am going to bring out my friend Zemill. Zemill, come on out.
What's up? What's up? How we doing today? Good morning to everyone, and to you, Zena. How are you?
I am doing fabulous. How are you? I haven't heard this voice in years. I was just telling him, I haven't heard your voice in years, but I follow him and I know some of the things that he's doing. And so, you know, I can go on, because I don't know how far you want me to go. If you want me to talk about the football, if you want me to talk about what you're doing. So I'm just going to let you do your own self-introduction, because I think that you do it well.
Well, you're doing a wonderful job, and I'm sitting and listening to all the different things that you have going on. And I can honestly tell you that I'm right there with you in terms of being by the water, because for me, a vacation is not a vacation unless you're by the water.
Wow.
I mean, really, the time and the relaxation and the time to reflect, and just the waves and the sound, and then the quiet stillness that takes place is a beautiful thing. So I'm right there with you regarding all of that.
I have to tell you, I take it for granted. On one of my podcasts, and maybe I'll talk about this at another time, I actually manifested this. I was living in Arizona, as you know, and my son was graduating high school, and I wanted to come back to LA. But it's a long story, but literally in 45 days, I kid you not, I manifested this. And all I'm going to say about that is I tapped into my 5 senses, and I meditated with ocean sound, ocean scent, ocean smell, and what I would do by the ocean for 45 days. And literally the opportunity presented itself to me, and there were 8 people waiting for this apartment. And little did the property manager know, I laid hands. I went back home. I wasn't even prepared to move. My son was going to graduate like months down the road. And I was like, claimed it in the name. And there it was. So we'll get into that at another time. But that's what I love helping people do, manifest things, because we are living in an unlimited environment, planet, galaxy, and things are happening so quickly, but also our thoughts are taking away some of our hopes and dreams so quickly, because we're getting stuck in the muck of social media and news and fake news and this and that and this, that we're not utilizing our energy. And I know we're going to talk about some things today, which actually is about energy and positivity, but you're going to share some more about that, because I think that we sort of resonate on that same level about, just being productive and picking yourself up and just moving. But so many people, I hear it all the time, and in some of the groups that I'm in, Zemill, that people are just stuck. Like one woman said, she said, what do you do when you've stayed at your job too long? Leave.
Wow.
But she was
it's no place it's not a good thing or a good feeling or a good space to be somewhere where you are not happy.
Yes. And that was the whole mindset about me in this show, is really showing people simple things that they can change in 5 minutes, mindsets, behaviors, pathologies, patterns, whatever, just to get into the flow again. Because when you're in the flow, you're an athlete. So when you're in the flow and that momentum is going, you are tuning up, you are getting prepared, you are ready to win that race. But if you don't put a foot forward, right, you're never going to jump into the game. You're never going to jump into the sport. You're never going to jump into the league or the environment or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. You have to do something. And so a lot of us are so mental that we're stuck in our mental stuff that we never live life. We just don't get going.
You got to jump in the game. You
Yeah.
got to get in there, and you got to make a decision to say, okay, today is today. And you talk about planning it. In one of the lines in one of the poems in the book Love Unleashed, one of the last lines in that poem says, "Plan it, command it, and most assuredly stand in it."
Come on now.
Because to name it and claim it, yes, you did that part of it, but you also followed it through the end, because follow up is one thing, following through is another thing. And so you just can't name it and claim it. You have to put in the work to actually get it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you do that, those things that you aspire to, when you do that, when you put in the work and follow the steps and the process all the way to the end, typically good things will happen. But again, it's about putting in the work. It's about the dedication and the commitment to what it is that you have to do to get to where you want to go.
Exactly. Come on, Zemill, we need to back up. We need to tell them a little bit more about you. So let me just, because you just threw out the book and they're probably like, what book?
Yeah. Well, I will start off by saying Zemill, the name means joyous melodies in Hebrew. And I have been writing, for years and years and years. But I've been in corporate America for 35 years, and it wasn't until I became, let us say, a more seasoned person in corporate America that I woke up one day and decided it was time.
Wow.
It was time for the music, the books, the performing, and all of those things to take place. And when I woke up that particular day, I won't give you the year, but it was January 1st, my birthday. I will give you a date. January 1st is my birthday, and I woke up one day, one particular year, not too long ago, and said, it's time.
Wow.
It's time for me to move on. And so not leave the company, because I didn't get that vibe saying that, okay, I have to leave my job, because you still have to eat. On this process, on this journey.
Yes.
But it was going to be a parallel mission to complete the things that I set out to do. So I wrote down a list of goals for my music, for the CDs, for the book, for Attention Required LLC, which is a website, and the place where you can get all things Zemill. And I said, okay, this is the plan, this is the process, and this is what's going on. So I do what I call Pojazz, and it's Zemill's Pojazz experience. And Pojazz is the blending of smooth jazz, smooth R&B, neo soul, and spoken word. And we blended all of that together to create a really nice and smooth and mellow sound, a mind-engaging journey in everything that I do, whether it's the music, the poetry, the spoken word, the performances. It's all about engaging you, engaging the audience, and then giving you really a really phenomenal experience of entertainment and enlightenment. Because at the end of the day, we can all entertain one another.
Yes.
But for me to be able to give you something that you go, aha, or that was something that touched you in a special way, then that's really ultimately what I want to do. And so everything, and I run the gamut from inspirational to motivational to sensual to erotic to just chilling. You know what I mean? Just so we run the gamut. And so everything, again, all things Zemill at attentionrequired.com. But I'm out there on social media, Zemill, and Zemill's for Jazz Experience on Facebook, at Zemill on Twitter, and Zemill's for Jazz on Instagram. So there's a lot of things out there, and if you Google Zemill, you will get quite a few things that actually come up. But I've been busy trying to keep up with you.
No, because I think that you were at you were at Essence, right?
So yeah, a few years ago, I was at the poetry of the Essence of Poetry, and it was a great group of people that put on a spoken word event. That was one of the outlying venues that actually was on the site, and they're doing Essence Weekend, and so it was a great experience to be down there with all those people and into that event, and so it was a really great experience. I had a wonderful time there.
So I wanted to bring up that point because I know a lot of people compare like what success looks like. We haven't even gotten on topic, y'all. We're gonna get there.
It's all good.
We're gonna get there. I know some people compare like, well, your success and you drive this and you do the, and so I wanted to just say that success, abundance, peace, and joy looks different to all of us. What are we created in image and likeness, right? But then the rest of it is our free will, like our free will to go out there and pursue and to identify our passions, to know what our journey is. So many people are stuck. So there are a couple of things I want to go back, because one of the things that you said is you woke up January 1st and you realized it was time for this creative being to show up, right? And so I like to tell people that, we signed a contract when we were born, before, the incarnation of our life. We signed a contract with God, Spirit, whatever you want to call it. And because those gifts, those talents, and those abilities were implanted in us, right? Along with free will. Right. And so we were pure at the purest stage of our life. We signed a contract. Doesn't that sound crazy? And what you signed that contract was to fulfill these things in your life. And so on January 1st, it finally set in like, I need to be this person. And then you moved into your purpose. You moved into your passion. But here's the thing that I think that's really important that you said, is you did that parallel with your profession, because so many people think that if they give up one thing, I just heard a woman say, well, he's out there pursuing his music and he hasn't worked a day. They're having 3 and 4 kids and the burden is on her. Let's be responsible about what we do. And I'll go back to the momentum.
Absolutely.
I'll go back to the momentum, because here's what happens. If you keep your job, in addition to you pursuing your passion, then there's momentum, there's flow. You never know who you're going to connect with. Zemill and I met on Facebook, and we've seen each other once, and we've known each other for years, and we consider each other friends, and that's how life is evolving now. So you never know what's going to reach, touch, or engage another person. But if you give up one thing to go to another, and I know that people say you have to go all in, but all in doesn't mean, because this is the God that I serve, all in doesn't mean that I need to deplete my livelihood in another aspect and be a burden and troublesome to someone else because I can't buy myself a burger, right?
Right, absolutely.
And so
you got to be able to do both. You have to understand that unless you were born or you came into an enormous amount of funds, you have to also understand that your plan or your goal, what you set out to do, is going to have to be funded.
Yes.
And if you don't already have that in place, but you walk away from the thing that allows you to eat and keep a roof over your head, that's not a good plan.
Yes.
So we have to be smart about that thing. That's just keeping it real.
Exactly.
We just have to be we have to be smart. We have to be sure that this is what we want to do. And then again, as I said, committed to actually getting it done.
Yeah. And it will happen, right? So you're still in corporate America, but yet you have all of these different accomplishments and performances and credits and all of these different things that you've done that you've put out into the universe by still being in corporate America. And so the flow and the momentum is just building and building and building to the point that you'll be able to make a decision and make a choice, right?
Absolutely, and it's time sensitive,
Yeah.
and so I put a date on when this plan is uh, is due to totally manifest itself.
Wow.
So you have to attach dates to your goals,
Yes.
and then again the process and putting in the work to actually getting it done. And so everything has a date attached to it. Everything is time sensitive. Everything is going to flow and is flowing through a process right
Yeah.
now. And so that's a part of the whole gambit. So and you
Yeah.
have to run it, and you have to run it with haste. But there are two things I want to get in, as we get to talk about the
Topic.
complacency. But there are two things I like to keep to make sure there's a running thread. Is that you have to be consistent and you have to be persistent.
Yes.
Two different things.
Hmm.
And we have to totally understand that when we're talking about setting goals and moving forward with things that we plan to attain.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I just wanted to say that age is just a number. So don't ever,
Absolutely.
ever, ever say, I'm
Absolutely.
too
I'm a
old.
living witness to that.
I know, I know. I wanted to bring that up because, I mean, I don't need to disclose that, but, seasoned, both of us are seasoned, right? And so age is just a
Absolutely.
number.
Absolutely.
Age is just a number. Like, you don't have to say, oh, I'm too old to do this, or that's happened. Well, maybe in like some sports or something like that, but but you don't have to say life doesn't stop at 30 or 40 or even 50, right? It it
Absolutely.
it it becomes better. I'm just telling you, millennials, because this radio station is owned by a millennial, and like I said, I'm the oldest here, and they are doing some dynamic things with the different shows. But this is just like, I think that we get like 4 or 5 careers in our lifetime if we really work at it, right? And so
Absolutely.
oh man, you're just at the beginning. Life doesn't end when you're 40. I know that seems old, but life does not end when you're 40. So you know what we've talked. I want to jump out and talk about the topic because I know it's important to you, and it's a passion of yours. And so we want to talk about the topic today is just staying focused and overcoming complacency. And complacency is what to so that people can understand what that is.
It's being in that place of being settled with what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
It's that lethargic feeling of you're stuck in that rut, as you mentioned earlier, in
Yes.
that place to where everything is just ho hum. It's
Yeah.
just okay. And there's no motivation to move either forward or backwards, but you just stay and you not even content in that place, but because that's where you are right now,
Yeah.
you're just okay with it and you're just dragging your feet and not having the strength and the passion to move forward or backwards, but stay in that rut and to stay in that place and say, okay, I'm here, this is it, and this is all I can do. And that's that in a grand
Yeah.
type of view.
I think of complacency and I think of people being hopeless. I also think of complacency and I think of being very mechanical. So, as a single parent, when I was raising my 2 children, it was like get up at a certain time, pack the diaper bag, drop the kids, feed the kids, brush your teeth, feed the kids, get off in the road, drop them off at the babysitters, work 12 hours, pick them up, come home, shower, get them ready for bed, and then that was it. So to me, complacency is that when I'm not thinking about anything else but the tasks at hand, and I'm not looking beyond that, or I'm not reflecting on why I'm in that situation.
Right, right. And also, we get into that place where we talk a lot about what we're going to do,
Yes.
but we don't do anything about it. So you keep telling me, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Or we like to say, I'm fixing to do this.
Yeah.
How many times you heard, man, I'm fixing to do this.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
fixing to do that. Okay, well, when are you going to fixing to have it done?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
when is it going to be complete? I'll never forget when I did the first book, Thoughts and Vision, and it's a poetry book, right? And I said, okay, this is the date I'm going to do it. And I went, and the publisher, the publisher for the electronic book, for the ebook, said, man, well, people don't sell a whole lot of poetry books, and you don't. So if you do 50 of those things, you'll be great. You'll be doing good. And I said to him, 50. I said, I know 50 people that will buy the book just because they're friends of mine and that they
Sure.
would support me. So all I need you to do is to actually publish it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I can honestly tell you that today that book, The Thoughts and Vision, has paid for itself 3 times.
Wow.
And I was in that place where I listened to this person, you know, and that's another thing. Everybody that say they're for you are not going to be for you.
Yes.
Everybody that you think that's going to support you are not there. It's not going to happen. And so you have to continue to move forward no matter what it is that someone tells you or their opinion, because their opinion is just that, is their opinion. Their opinion is not your fact.
Exactly. Exactly. And, you know, that goes back to the passion. Like, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? How bad can you see it? Like, can you see it? So some things come into our lives, you know, a lot of people like, I want to win the lottery. Well, you know, I mean, that's just a want. Wants are temporary. They're fleeting, right? But, you know, when you actually have a desire that becomes a requirement, that's something that's almost like a mandate. It's like, this has to happen. I have to put gas in my car. I desire more money so I can pay for the gas prices in California. So
Absolutely.
So I can put the gas in my car. So it becomes a requirement.
You're on
like
a whole
I have
other level there.
Yeah, I have to do that. So we have to be very careful, because with wants and wishes and fitting to do stuff and all that. And I'll tell you just really quickly, then we'll get back to topic, because I was accused of this twice. So obviously this is part of my pathology. So when I've dated people and I've listened, I'm always listening to people who want a dream. Like, I love being around people who want a dream. They want to attain something. They want to go out and get something. So 2 people that I dated in the past, one said he wanted something, and I was like, oh. So being in human resources, I'm an avid researcher. I'm an avid learner. So I went and found all these documents and said, hey, babe, here's what you can do. Well, that was the end of the relationship, because he was like, well, I just said that. I just said, and I was like, oh, you ain't got no dream, right? Because my preacher told me the enemy is the man without a dream. Okay, so then the next relationship, not right after that one, was another situation. And I was, you know, he was like, oh, yeah. I was like, well, what do you dream about? Like, what do you want to do? Like, the first book that I wrote, I was like, you know, I'm going to write this. And what if the book does this? And he was like, that's cool. We'll just hang out. And I was like, nope, gotta go. So
gotta move on.
Gotta move on. And that's when, you know, you also, with your passion now, and we talk about complacency, you also have to know who's going to be in your tribe. Because if you have a tribe that's taking you down, depleting you, you know, oh, you can't do this. Oh, such and such did that and she failed. Or my dog did this. My uncle did this. I love it when people say, because I'm a recruiter and I can help anyone find a job. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I can help anyone find a job. If you would listen to what I say, I know how to package you. I have people that just won't listen, and they're you know, they can't find a job. And it was like, okay, well, when you're ready, just come to me and talk to me. But then they'll tell me, well, my uncle who was this, or my brother who was this. And I'm like, what are they doing? And you know, they could be a horse trainer, they could be whatever. Like, why do you go to those people when you are looking for information about this? So that's the other thing.
Or you are hard. Excuse me, but you
Go
just
ahead.
made me think about something. You are going. Your uncle or those people is a horse trainer, but you are in computer technology.
Exactly. and your
Yeah, I
resume is
get you.
10 pages long. Like
Yeah,
seriously.
yeah.
If you want, this is look, we're not the Kardashians, and we're not these other people. We're not the Hiltons. We're not all these people. So we weren't born with that silver spoon or have the connections to make instantaneous things happen, right? So we're not those people. We're extraordinary people living ordinary lives, really, because TV is not ordinary. So here's what you need to do. You need to tribe up, get members in your team that are in alignment with what it is that you are pursuing. You can't be the smartest person in your group, because if you're the smartest person in your group, you're not learning anything. You're depleting because these people are sucking it out of you, taking it from you. Anyway, I digress. Let's go back to
We're good.
complacency. So, have you ever had moments of complacency with all the stuff that you've got going on?
I've had moments where I had to think really what was my next step, and I'll never forget Oprah. Saw her in the conversation, and she was talking about having all these different things to do, and she talked about, okay, what's the next thing? And I've had those moments, not so much where I said I was bogged down, but where I really had to prioritize. And this is what we're talking about on topic and talking about staying focused even when you're in those places. I had to think to myself, what is the next thing that I need to do? What is most important? What's priority? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I do lists, right? I'm old fashioned, and yes, I have a tablet and pad and computer, but for me, for me, and I like to write things down. And so this is the thing. These are the things that I'm looking at this week. Week ending 6, 8, 1 through 10, 1 through 12, and I may not get through all of those things, but what I will do is this is number 1. This is number 2. This is number 3. And then on those things that I have to get done this week that are time sensitive, I put an asterisk by those things. And I said, no matter what, these things are going to happen. Out of these 10 things, these top 3 things, they're going to happen no matter what.
Sure.
And sometimes you just have to do that, to say, okay, what's my priority? What needs to happen first? And then now that I know this needs to happen first, what is the next step for me to get it done? So what do I have to do to move forward? So I've been in that place before, and it can be overwhelming when you're working a full-time job and you're performing and you're preparing to perform and you're traveling and you're doing those different things. But again, you still have to keep your eye on the prize. You still have to say, this is the plan, this is how I'm going to get here, and this is the next step in the plan.
Wow. I am a note person, writer myself, so I can't put things on my phone because, first of all, when you get seasoned, you probably wear glasses.
Yeah.
And so I don't like squinching to look at stuff on my telephone. So I write things down and I check off the list and so forth. But I also, one of the things that I do is I keep that, because sometimes you make notes or there may be something that you forgot that will jar your memory to something else. It's like I remembered the other day that I was looking for an executive producer, and if I didn't keep that note in that journal, I wouldn't have gone back to that name. And so I went back, and it was like 7 months ago I talked to this person, and it was like, wow, this is the perfect person. And literally it happened like this. If I didn't keep that note, I made one phone call, put that person in front of the right person. 3 days later, that person has an offer because it was the right time for everything. But if I would have
Wow.
kept that in my
Outstanding.
phone, I wouldn't have done that. Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah. So, talk to me like as if you're going to coach me on complacency in terms of how, if I'm coming to you, I think it's important that we give steps for people. If I'm coming to you, what could you say to me if I say, I've got these gifts, people have recognized these gifts, but I just don't know what to do. I don't have the money. So I'm giving you my excuses. I don't have the money. I'm older. I don't have the contacts. and I'm stuck, what could you tell me?
The first thing I would ask you is, what do you want to do with your gift? Because you are right, we all have gifts. Where do you want to go with your gifts? What is your vision for what it is that you want to do with your gift? And do you already have a plan or an idea of how to get there? Okay, well, no, I don't. I'm just kind of stuck right here in this place. Okay, well, first of all, that you need to write it down. You need to take everything that you thought of and brainstorm about all the different things that you want to do. Next, you need to organize those thoughts and say, okay, I can do this, I can do this. And understand that YouTube is free, and Facebook and Instagram, and putting yourself out there and making sure people know who you are. All those things are available to you. And then, do you have a plan? Okay, no, I don't have a plan. Okay, you need a plan. You need to organize your thoughts. Understand where it is that you want to do, where you want to be, visualize where you want to be, that first. Then I need you to organize those thoughts and say, this is where this needs to be in this place, this needs to be in this order. Then the plan. Okay, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to get up every day and I'm going to work on marketing my name. If it's one thing, like I talk about doing the list, I'm going to start out. I need people to know who I am, because, see, that's a really good question, because I did things different than what the millennials and the young people do today. When I started writing the Love Unleashed book, the Thoughts and Vision book, and then all the CDs, the Timeless, the Intimate Pleasures, the In the Mix, I did all those things. What I did was I focused on the quality of the content, right? Mm-hmm. Because I'm old school, because I love music. And so I wanted my music to sound a certain way. I wanted my music to, when you picked it up or you listened to it, the texture of the book, or you listen to the sound of the music, you'll know that it was mixed and mastered at a level of any other artist that you're hearing on TV or radio today. However, today it's about a following. It's about getting people behind you. Yes. Everything comes down to marketing.
Yes. So
whatever it is that you do, you've got to make sure that you have a marketing team behind you. And I'm still working on that part of it, because you, like you said, you're under construction. So am I in this process. So you feel like the music is good. You feel like you have a gift. You feel like you can write. You feel like you can sing, or whatever that thing is that you feel you're capable of doing. Organize it, plan it, and then how do I get there? How do I get my name?
Yeah.
How do I get name recognition? How do I take my brand and people know who I am, or get to know who I am, or want to know who I am? And Zig Ziglar said, a salesman, the primary goal of a salesman is to create want. And so when you talk about where it is that you want to do, or where it is that you want to go, how do you do that? And that's something that I'm still working on as well. But I have an idea based on study. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing I would say, you have to go look at people who are doing what it is that you want to do, so that you follow, a plan or path that maybe not theirs, but so that you totally understand what it is that you want to do.
Sure.
And say, okay, this is someone who's already doing it. So I need to see how they got there. And we've heard these things before, but we say we know what we're supposed to do, but we don't do it.
Yes.
And we're not consistent and persistent at getting it done. And so that would be my first few lines of advice to someone who talked to me about or asked me that particular question.
You're absolutely right. So a couple of things that I wanted to touch on. So there is a different mindset with, more seasoned people versus the millennials, and how people are doing things. And followers are really the new currency. It really is the new currency in terms
absolutely.
of, you can be a millionaire on YouTube, or you don't even need. I mean, I just heard that Simon Cowell wants to pull his son out of private school, which is high school, to have him start working in the business because he's such a super genius and doesn't feel like education is necessary. You know, you had oh, I can't remember which company it was, but they didn't want people to go to they didn't want people to go to college because they felt like, you know, college was spoiling this creativity. And what's different about the millennials is they'll just jump out. They'll just jump out and jump in, be on social media, you know, and it will trend. Here's where I'm a little challenged. Just what I'm just going to say. I'm a little challenged with the silliness of things, because I guess I'm a little bit more no, I don't want to say I'm a little bit more thoughtful. I'm a little bit more mindful in terms of my behavior. So I see that people will jump out with ridiculous behavior and it'll go viral, and I'm like, why are we looking at someone eat pizza for 16 minutes and he's got like 3 million followers? I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me.
That. Yeah. We don't understand that concept.
Yeah.
And, you know, but you have to understand also that you and I may not understand that concept. And you have to also think about who is your audience. How are you going to reach your particular audience?
Yeah.
And, but it may be silly to you, but those people are getting paid for doing something silly. And so you may not do that silly thing, but what is the motivation, or what is the thing that captures the people behind the silliness?
So I think about, you know, you could probably relate to this. So when they had the 8-track to the cassette, right?
Absolutely. Oh, man. Now we really telling our age. We're giving it away now. It's over.
Okay. Cassette to CD. Let's not go back that far. Cassette to CD, right?
We're still going back there, but it's okay.
You had the cassette in your car, and then, you know, some cars went CD, and you're like, I don't need that because I got it on cassette.
Right. And I still have some cassettes.
Oh, now see. If you could see my face, right?
Yeah. Well,
but
I do.
No, I know. Well, look, I was in some place and I told my cousin, I was like, because I have this one VHS tape that never made it to DVD. It was an event that happened at a major church, a mega church that I thought would take a movement. It's called Sister, I'm Sorry. Blair Underwood did it. And so I went to the event and they sold it on VHS. And so I have a DVR that's like a VHS and that has a VCR. So I was telling my cousin about it and she like blasted me out in the line of the movie theater. She was like, you have a VCR? And I was like, look, I can't get this and I'm not paying the rights to put this. Like, I don't bootleg stuff, so I'm not paying the rights to put this on a DVD. And anyway, it was so saying my age, but going back to the cassette versus DVDs, right, or CDs. So you have this mindset where people are like, well, I got it on cassette, so why do I need to get a DVD? When they had, back in the day, they had both in the car. Remember, they had the cassette and the DVD, and people were like, I don't need to do that. But then everything shifts. And so this is the point that I'm trying to make, is everything shifts. Even with the millennials, things are shifting with them at ultralight speed. And so we haven't caught up. And so I'm saying all this to tell you this one point. This is a huge nugget, you guys, because a friend of mine did this and she was tremendously successful, and she's in our age bracket. Again, going to followers are the newest currency, right? So she released a book. She co-authored a book on Amazon, and she asked all of her friends and family that within this certain time frame, can you give me a recommendation? You don't even have to buy my book. You can just give me a recommendation and say, such and such is an amazing person. I know that this word, blah, 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 blah. And so she went on Amazon, and I think maybe about 100 to 200 people did that, gave her reviews. By the end of the day, she was an Amazon top seller. Now, did that equate to sales? No, it didn't equate to sales. What it was is reviews. The point that I'm trying to get to is, because followers are the latest currency, we have, it's like it's the Bitcoin. Followers are the new Bitcoin, right? So we have to
Right,
figure out,
right.
as millennials or as, seasoned people, how do we maximize that in terms of getting our information out there? Because here's the thing, and I'll go back to our contract, then we'll go back to topic. We're doing this cha-cha dance here.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, it's all good.
but, but, the thing about it is, because followers are the new currency and they're the way we get our message out, our contract is to get the message out through any form necessary. So we have to adapt to what that looks like. And just like you said, YouTube is free. There's a site called Udemy, udemy.com, where you can learn anything that you want to learn for $9.99. Right? And so you can
Mm.
learn computer technology. You can learn social media. So we're taking the excuses off the table today, really, because we talked about, Zemill and accomplishing all that he's accomplished at his age, whatever his age is, but being, but also doing it while working in corporate America and having these accomplishments. We're taking those excuses off. We're taking those excuses off about, I don't know how to do it. I don't have the connections. We're taking those excuses off because we're giving you resources to move and navigate out of complacency. So basically, it's about you. So the only excuse is you, right?
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day. Because if you have 50 friends, so you told your publisher you have 50 friends who are going to buy my book. If you said, hey, can you do me a favor? Somebody will spend $17.99. I mean, that's not even the price to get into a movies with popcorn.
Yeah,
50,
oh no, can't do
50
it.
friends. And you know what? Then tell your 50 friends to not only buy the book, but give it to someone else. Now the power of circulation is you're moving that into momentum. You're moving that into action, right? And so I know that
Absolutely.
we're doing all this stuff, but we just have to, for us that are seasoned, we have to do it a little smarter and learn how it's done. But how the younger people do it, they just do it. They just blast it out, and the people, they will share, they will, even if it doesn't even make sense, they'll just send it out. They don't care. It's like shooting aimlessly, right?
Yeah, throwing it up against the wall. Remember that song, "Up
Yeah.
Against the Wall"? They throw it all up against the wall,
Mhm.
and if it sticks, that's the lick. And so
Exactly.
that's the direction that they're going to go.
Exactly. So we're talking about complacency today, and we're also really just removing the veil of just getting into action and following your passion. And on January 1st, you said you were given this message and you started to put things in gear. And I'm sure that it's been a journey. I'm sure that it hasn't been easy. Can you talk to us a little bit about that and some of the disappointments and how you just kept going at it?
Uh, Again, good question. Thank you. Um, the trouble with having, and it's not so much of a trouble, but the issue with having a job and having a dream, and then not understanding that both are necessary in order for you to get to where you want to go, is that you don't understand that both are necessary to get to where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you get caught up into that place where if I wasn't working, man, I could really do this. If I wasn't working, and then if I could spend this thing hard, do this 100% of the time, this would really be happening. And I keep going back to that because, well, if you did not have the job, if you did not, have a way to continue to support yourself, then, and you're not already at that place or that level in your gift, your dream, or your future, or your destiny that supports you, then you really, really, really are in a bad place. And the reason why I keep going back to that for your listeners and for the people is that I've heard so many people, I quit my job. Something said quit my job. But no. So I went through a period where that was a thought, not so much that I wanted to act on it, right? Not so much that it was something that was overwhelming, but it was a thought. And so there are always going to be trials in your journey. I had to overcome colon cancer,
Mm.
which is that no one is. I said into my shows, my last show last week, and every show, that there's no preparation for that conversation when that doctor tells you that.
Mm.
And but you have to, at the end of the day, again, this is where I want to be at this time. This was the 5-year plan. This was the 7-year plan. This was the 10-year plan. I'm in the 8th year of the plan right now. And so
Wow.
you have to keep moving forward, because in direct answer to your question, there is always going to be something. There is going to be, because life happens.
Mm-hmm.
There is going to be family concerns. There are going to be financial concerns. There are going to be emotional concerns. There are going to be relationships. Hint, hint, going back to what you said, that people that don't have dreams. There are going to be people who you thought were in your corner that were not in your corner. There are going to be people who say they believe in you, but they don't really believe in you. But at the end of the day, it's your dream. It wasn't put, their vision, your vision wasn't put in their mind. They can help you. They can say, okay, good job, go do it. But I keep going back to, at the end of the day, it's on you. You have to walk through the door.
Yes.
And all of those things affect you and impact you. All of those things, the people, the trials, the life, but at the end, but you have to stay focused. You have to say, this is where I'm going to go. And there's nothing in this universe that's going to keep me from getting from point A to point B. And this is how I'm going to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. So powerful. So very powerful. Thank you so very much for sharing. I'm so grateful for you and for reaching out and for us staying connected over the years. And I'm here to support you in any way that I can through your journey and your success. And I know you'll do the same for me. And
Absolutely.
when I get to Texas, I'll pop in and see you. Oh, that's where we saw each other. That was the first time we saw
Yeah,
each other. Oh my
yes,
God.
absolutely, yes, yes. So you got
Wow.
to make sure you let me know, and we stay, in touch when you're here again, because that's been a decade, now. So
Oh
we have to
my
make sure that
goodness. Yes.
when you're here in the neighborhood, or when I'm there, if possible, our schedules allow it, that we sit down and we chat, and
Yeah, come
we
to the
catch up.
ocean, sit on my balcony, chill out, listen to the
Man, for
waves.
just bliss, yeah, bliss.
I mean, whether I'm there or not, believe it or not, I mean, I open that up to you. I have invited people when I'm there or not. It's like, it's such a great place. I was gifted with such a great place. It's a small place, but it's such a great place that, like, people pay major money to go to resorts to have the view that I have and listen to the ocean. And so, it's just I'm just so blessed, and I just share that with special people, and I'm like, come if I'm gone, hey, let me know, come and stay and just chill out, because I found my center and focus, and I found Xena in the silence. Sounds crazy, but I have. And even when I was sick for 2 months, I just surrendered to that and just allow God to use me through reflection and prayer and meditation. And so there is nothing like a rejuvenated spirit to be thrust into your passions and your purpose. You move in a completely different stride, but also for me, it just feels like things got easier. Like I'm not trying to hustle. I'm not fighting it. I'm not the salmon swimming upstream. I'm just like, oh,
Yes.
okay. All right, cool. You want to introduce me to this person? Cool. All right. Like I was saying, found the executive producer. I was like, oh, okay, let me go back. I know someone. Boom, boom, 3 days. It happened. And so I'm just
Wow.
watching the miracle of life unfold, because the other thing about complacency is it puts this burden on you. It puts this stress. It
Wow.
puts this weight on you. And so when you don't have that, I'm not saying that I'm the total optimist, but I believe that the universe is here to support me. I believe if I do what I need to do each and every day, whether it's one step or one post or connect with one person, Just now, while we're on the show, someone texted me. He's a VP of the Big Brothers and Big Sisters Club of Arizona, and he wants to talk to me. And I don't know why, but it was similar to our connection. And it was like, okay, I'll talk to you. I'll see what this is about. I don't know how I can help you, and I don't know how you can help me, but let's see. And that's how relationships and things form. For me, I don't set an expectation on, oh, this man reached out to me, and so this must mean that. That's not how I work. I just go in there, just, okay, how can we help one another? And then things happen.
Absolutely.
So talking about complacency and the burden of that, you know what? Let me just talk to you real quick about the stress. Stress is a toxin. Stress is like, what is the most toxic thing you can think about? Stress is drinking that from a straw, sipping that from a straw slowly, and it's going into your body, and it's saturating your muscles and your vessels and your organs. That's what stress is. And the thing about stress, it's a silent killer. And so you don't even have to know that you're stressed, but you're stressed because you're sipping that toxin through that straw, and you think that you're not getting a lot of it, or that it's not. So let's just say a soda with all the sugar and all the chemicals. You're sipping that every day, and it's doing something. Now, I'm not a total health nut, but it's doing something to your body. And if it's doing something to your body, it's doing something to the chemistry within inside your body, which affects your brain and your heart and your movement and all of that stuff. So stress is that way. So complacency is that way. And so we're trying to say, just lift the veil of that, get rid of that, wash that out, flush it down the toilet, and get into motion, even if it's one step a day, right?
Absolutely. And it's so you confirmed, and you're not going to believe what today's Wednesday's word. I do the Wednesday's words and the Tuesday's truth. Wait till you see what today's Wednesday's word
I have to go check it out.
You unconsciously announced it just a moment ago.
That's how spirit works. That's how spirit works. Yes. I love it. Zemill, tell people how they can get in touch with you, how they can follow you, what they can do to get connected to you, reach out to you. Maybe they want to have you on their show. We've got other shows. Hey, we've got Friday's Ladies Night. You're a nice looking man. I might have to connect you with some of these Friday. They talk about all kinds of stuff, so I'll connect you to the producer there. That's how it works, you guys. That's how the universe works.
Have them to reach out to me, and you tell them that would be great.
Absolutely.
Especially since 70% of the people who are at the shows are ladies. But I love
your. And can I just say one thing? I love your romantic poetry. I'm like, wish I had a man talk to me that way.
Come on now.
I was
hey, it's all good. Wait till you hear the new stuff.
Oh my God. So tell them how they can get in touch with you.
Zemill on Facebook, Zemill's for Jazz on Instagram, @Zemill on Twitter, and Zemill.com or attentionrequired.com. Zemill.com or attentionrequired.com. Zemill's for Jazz on Instagram, Zemill on Facebook, and @Zemill on Twitter. Music, smooth grooves, you're into romance, you're into mellow music, you're into smooth jazz, and you want a new experience in your life regarding music and thoughts and words, join me on the mind-engaging and mellow mood experience.
Come on now.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So let me just tell you, Zemill is spelled Z as in zebra, EMILL, right? Y'all got it?
Absolutely.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for tuning in to the AskZena radio show on the Good News radio station. We are doing some amazing things. We have some amazing shows. Check us out. Listen in, tune in, tell your friends about us. Don't forget that if you ever need career advice or life coaching, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'll do it just to help you because I know you will pay it forward. So if you need to find your purpose and passion, this is the place to be. This is the place to connect with me. So you can find me, Ask Zena, on any of the social media channels, as well as you can connect with me via email. So my email address is coach.askzena, Zena, at gmail.com, coach.askzena@gmail.com. Tune in, listen to some of the previous podcasts that I've done. I've done some stuff where I've helped people find jobs, and I've even taught you the secrets from a recruiter's desk. Hey, have a wonderful day. We are tuning out and tapping in and going to enjoy this hump day. Move and make it a prosperous day.